everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Today's video has been, I guess, a long time coming. It is the second installment in the Today in Julie Andrews History series of videos that I'm planning on doing. And today we're talking about Mary Poppins. Obviously the only other video in this series so far is the one I did for Start last year in October. There are actually another couple of pretty significant dates coming up in the next few months, so there will be more in this series coming very soon. But now let's talk about the movie we're here to talk about. Mary Poppins premiered in the US on the 27th of August 1964 at Grauman's Chinese Cinema. So 55 years ago. Do I even need to explain the plot of this movie? You all know it. The Banks family are having trouble keeping a nanny because the two kids aren't all that good at doing what they're told. So Mary Poppins flies down and takes Jane and Michael on all sorts of crazy adventures and fixes the problems that the family's having in the process. It's based on the book and, I guess, in a sense, the entire series. I don't know, I've only read the first book. Of the Mary Poppins books by P.L. Travers, written right here down under. And I do mean right here. There are thoughts that P.L. Travers wrote the book while she was living in Barrel, which is just up the road from where I live. And we've got a Mary Poppins birthplace tribute statue. And quite a lot of stuff from the actual book, probably more than you would think, actually made its way into the film. But check out the character study video for more of that. But just like you know the plot of the movie, I'm sure you've heard the story about how P.L. Travers felt about this entire extravaganza. She didn't want anything to do with Disney, and it took years and years and years for Walt to finally persuade her to make the movie. And when it was done, she was absolutely not happy. I think I remember reading or hearing somewhere that she, well, warmed up to it isn't the right word, but she wasn't nearly as angry as she was in the beginning. But she still forbade them from touching her magical nanny ever again. And yet, yeah, she's rolling in her grave. But while Pamela had a lot of issues with it, the rest of the world loved it. You don't need me to tell you that it was huge. It was a box office hit, grossing just over $103 million. I'm not sure whether that's measured in 1960s currency or whether it's been adjusted for inflation today, but still huge. It got 13 Oscar nominations and it ended up winning 5. Best Film Editing, Best Art Direction, Best Score, Best Song for Chim Chim Cherry, and of course Best Actress. And in addition to being nominated for the Oscar, Julie was also nominated for the Golden Globe that year. And she was up against Audrey Hepburn for My Fair Lady. Obviously Jack Warner didn't pick her to play Eliza Doolittle, so when she won the Golden Globe and came up to give her acceptance speech, she said this.
Finally, my thanks to a man who made a wonderful movie and who made all this possible in the first place, Mr. Jack Warner.
Revenge is sweet. And he was laughing along with everybody else, so it was all good. But let's talk a bit about My Fair Lady for a second. Obviously, Julie originated the role of Eliza Doolittle on Broadway in 1956, and then again in London in 1958. And though it was actually her role as Guinevere in Camelot that really got her the role of Mary Poppins, at this point in her career she was probably best known for playing Eliza. So you would think when it came to adapting the musical to film, she would be the obvious pick. They got Rex Harrison from the OBC after all, and Stanley Holloway, and the guy who originated the role of Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music on Broadway, though that's just a fun fact, it doesn't really have all that much to do with Julie. At least not in this specific event. But even though she'd filmed Mary Poppins, The Americanization of Emily, and Sound of Music, all before any of them were released, she really wasn't a big name as far as films went. And because of that, Jack Warner thought it was too risky to cast her, so he cast Audrey instead, so Julie did Mary Poppins. The crew saw Julie in Camelot on the Ed Sullivan Show, and that's when they decided she was perfect for the role. And it really was the whistling she does in What Do the Simple Folk Do that sealed the deal. She actually provided the voice for the robin she sings with in Spoonful of Sugar.
For a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
I guess that means it was a duet for one. P.L. Travers rang her the day after she gave birth to her daughter and said, and I will read it from Julie's memoir, "Yes, yes," she interrupted, "but you're going to be playing Mary Poppins." "Yes, Miss Travers." "Well, you're much too pretty, of course, but you've got the nose for it." And Mary Poppins was filmed on the exact same soundstage where many years later Julie would also film The Princess Diaries. The Princess Diaries was the first Disney movie she made since Mary Poppins, and the soundstage was later renamed and dedicated to her. Julie's first husband Tony Walton did the sets and costumes. When Walt first came to see her in Camelot, he found out Tony did that and pretty much signed him on the spot. And of course, with all that, as I have said many times before in my videos, they gave Mary Poppins a secret life. And I think Rob Marshall probably continued that streak in the sequel. Cover is not the book, anyone. But now that I've bombarded you with a history lesson, I'm going to talk about my favourite parts of the movie. That being said, I actually feel like it's really hard for me to pick out specific things that I like about the film and that I really just like it as a whole. But here are some definite highlights. Everything with Mrs. Banks. She is hysterical. But my absolute favourite moment is this.
She looked so solemn and cross.
Winifred, never confuse efficiency with a liver complaint.
That might actually be my favourite moment in the movie, period. The man with the wooden leg named Smith gets me every time. I mentioned this in the character study video, but my grandparents had a big golden book, picture book, of Mary Poppins, and I might have actually read that book before I saw the movie. So actually finally getting to see the scene where they tell the joke after just reading about it in the book was awesome. And I also love the joke about the long underwear.
The shopkeeper said to him, "How long do you want it?" And my friend said, "Well, from about September to March."
I'm sure some of you already know this, but Walt's favourite song was Feed the Birds. And it was actually his favourite song, not just in the movie, but ever. For me, picking a favourite song is really hard. I really like the overture and I really like A Man Has Dreams, which Mr. Banks sings after Step in Time. And it seems really weird that those would be the two I like, but I really do like them. But at the same time, I do wonder whether they are actually my favourites, or whether I like some of the others more. But I can't really order them. It's kind of like Hamilton. I can probably give you my top 4 favourite songs in Hamilton, but I couldn't really tell you which is 2, which is 3, and which is 4. And then songs number 5 through 47 I couldn't even begin to order. I think Mary Poppins is kind of the same. I really don't know which one I would pick, because they're all so wonderful. It wouldn't be Step in Time, because as I mentioned a couple of weeks back, that never really did anything for me. But it's still really hard for me to choose. And then of course there's my favourite thing about the movie, Julie herself. My hero, my favourite person ever. Need I say more? As I said, I may have read that picture book before I saw the movie. And I saw the movie when I was about 8. And as shocking as this may seem to you, in a way I'd be more shocked if somebody told me they hadn't seen Mary Poppins than if they hadn't seen The Sound of Music. I'd be more annoyed with somebody not having seen The Sound of Music, but I think I'd be more shocked about someone not having seen Mary Poppins. I mean, it's Disney after all. We grow up on Disney. Sleeping Beauty and Mulan were the biggest ones for me when I was a kid. What are yours? And so, on that note, if for whatever bizarre reason you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it. While it never did, and possibly never will, have that same special meaning for me that I think it did for a lot of other people, there's really only one way to describe this movie. Come on, say it with me now. It's practically perfect in every way. It's just a classic. And that's all I've got for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what are your memories and thoughts on Mary Poppins. It may not have a huge amount of nostalgia for me, but I do love it more every time I watch it. I'll give it that. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!